Well, Mike Lindell, the MyPillow guy, has now been ordered by an arbitration panel to pay $5 million to a cybersecurity expert who disproved his election fraud claims, because he made this proclamation and he set up this challenge, the Prove Mike Wrong challenge, that said, if you can prove me wrong about the election being stolen, if you can prove all my evidence wrong, then I'll give you $5 million, of course, to show that he was so confident that he was correct. Well, a cyber expert proved him wrong, and now an arbitration panel has said, you got to pay up, Mike.
This just in, MyPillow CEO Mike Lindell has now been ordered to pay out $5 million to an expert who debunked his 2020 election conspiracy theory. That's according to a decision by the arbitration panel, which was obtained by CNN. This comes after Lindell, who repeatedly peddled election conspiracies, he vowed to award a multi-million-dollar sum to any cybersecurity expert who could disprove his data. CNN's Sarah Murray is following the story. Sarah, you have fresh reporting on this. What are you picking up?
Well, look, Mike Lindell held this big cyber symposium in 2021. He invited experts, he invited journalists, he invited politicians to come and said, I'm going to give you this data that's related to the 2020 election. Lindell, of course, believed it was stolen, and he said, if you can debunk it, if you can prove it's not related, I'll give you $5 million. Well, a cybersecurity...
And then she explains what I just did, and I'll touch on it one more time. Here, this is from CNN as well. MyPillow CEO Mike Lindell has been ordered to shell out $5 million to an expert who debunked his data related to the 2020 election, according to a decision by the arbitration panel obtained by CNN. I mean, wow, that's a what comes around goes around moment. You're running around lying about the election, pretending you have evidence, confidently saying, I'll pay anyone $5 million who can disprove my claims, and then now you're actually going to have to pay up. This reminded me of when hearing it being reported on, the evidence he had, the cyber evidence and all of that, this interview he did on CNN where he was confronted about this evidence or lack thereof and how bogus it was. And I wanted to remind you about that. He should have known when he was being told by reporters like this is bogus, that he shouldn't have put money on the line.
All the states, every single state.
Changed the votes.
Every single state.
And you have the proof.
Yes. That
will show
I have the whole data.
The actual exchange of votes.
Yep. 100%. 100%.
It is, of course, complete nonsense. Despite every piece of so-called evidence Lindell has presented so far, 3 videos, a lawsuit, screenshots he sent to CNN, there's still no proof that the election was hacked, and that's according to 24 cyber experts and election officials contacted by CNN.
100% evidence.
When Lindell released his so-called evidence in videos like this, fact checkers quickly found out it was evidence of nothing. These images are just publicly available voter data, scrolling across the screen.
Well, stop it. Actually, let me jump forward to when Mike Lindell responds to this.
6 different screenshots.
You sent us this on Friday.
Yeah.
What is this?
That's just one piece of 1.2 billion lines of data from the election. Okay, within that will be timestamps of when it happened. There'll be flips in there.
So we sent this to our own experts. Mm-hmm. He said that it doesn't show any specific actions of any kind, election related or not, and it's proof of nothing.
Okay, so he said that's nothing, huh? Well, he's wrong. Then you didn't hire a cyber expert.
We didn't.
And they say they hired a bunch of cyber experts. I gotta tell you, with all Mike, I think he's one of the rare individuals who's actually bought into this. And I mean, there are lots of voters, lots of followers who are bought into this. But as far as the leaders, those pushing out this nonsense, he's one of the few that actually believes it, and it's sad to see. And I think he asked somebody, I don't know who benefits from this, but someone he asked to provide him cyber data, the hard proof of the election being stolen. and they just took screen grabs of a bunch of publicly available data and then just scrolled it on a screen for him. And he was like, see, they're telling me, and now it's there. And he's been spending to the tune of millions of dollars, so much, and putting so much of his life into challenging these election results and trying to get rid of the machines and trying to overturn Kerry Lake's election results and Trump's and all of that based on lies. But when I see him talk about it, I don't see that little thing in people's eyes when they're all, deceitful. He just seems completely bought into it. And it's really sad. And now MyPillow's going broke, and he's going to have $5 million more to pay out. It's just a disaster. Again, why? Because lies, not because he's actually fighting this justified crusade, not because he's actually saving America from the horrible Democrats, but because he bought into lies. Whether that's because it benefits him, which I just don't see how it is, him kind of imploding his whole life over this, or because he's believing people who are for some reason feeding this to him. I don't know, but it's a sad story, and this is a cherry on top of that very sad story. Even though he's an adult, I recognize that. Anytime I talk about it being sad, I recognize he is waging an all-out assault on our democracy with all these lies, but somehow it's still sad to observe.